Hello, friends. This is Pastor Russ, and it's time now for our mini Bible study. We're studying the book of Genesis right now, and it's a study that we do in 10 minutes or less. Right now, we are studying the book of Genesis, chapter 34. I call this chapter Dinah and the Shechemites. I know it sounds like a musical group, but it's really not. It's Dinah is one of the daughters of Jacob. We mostly know Jacob for his 12 sons that become the 12 tribes of Israel. But in this chapter, we're going to be hearing the story of what happens with Dinah. At this point, they are in the community of Shechem. And if you look at this map here, you can see Shechem is right here. It's the northern city that was really the original capital of Canaan, the headquarters. It's located next to the Jordan River, close to the north of the Sea of Galilee, which then the River Jordan flows down into the Dead Sea where it ends, and that's closer to where Jerusalem is. But right now, they're in Shechem as we begin our reading. So hello, folks. This is Pastor Russ, and let's go ahead and read chapter 34 and discuss the meaning of it. It's kind of different from our modern day form of justice, but it starts out with, now Dinah, the daughter Leah had born to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the land. When Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, the ruler of that area, saw her, he took her and violated her. Modern terminology would be he abused her sexually. He raped her. His heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob, and he loved the girl and spoke tenderly to her. And Shechem said to his father Hamor, "Get me this girl as my wife." And so you can see there's no courtship here at all. It's merely a physical act for Shechem, who is the son of Hamor, who was a Hivite. And so then he tells his father, "I love this girl, get me her for my wife." Continuing on with verse 5, when Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the fields with his livestock, so he kept quiet about it until they came home. Then Shechem's father Hamor went out to talk with Jacob. Now Jacob's sons had come in from the fields as soon as they heard what had happened. They were filled with grief and fury. You can imagine how mad they would be, because Shechem had done a disgraceful thing in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not have been done, at least not till after they were married. And even then, the way that it was done, the physical brutality of it is certainly not condoned at all. But Hamor said to them in verse 8, "My son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give her to him as his wife. Intermarry with us. Give us your daughters and take our daughters for yourselves. You can settle among us. The land is open to live. Live in it, trade in it, and acquire property in it." And so here we can see the encouragement of the intermarriage, which is a problem for the Israelites, because as soon as you start intermarrying, then you start adopting other cultures, customs, traditions, worship of other gods, and this is not acceptable to God at all. Continuing on with verse 11, then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and I will give you whatever you ask. Make the price for the bride and the gift I am to bring as great as you like, and I'll pay whatever you ask me. Only give me the girl as my wife." Because their sister Dinah had been defiled, Jacob's sons replied deceitfully as they spoke to Shechem and his father Hamor. They said to them, "We can't do such a thing. We can't give our sister to a man who is not circumcised. That would be a disgrace to us. We will give our consent to you on one condition only, that you become like us by circumcising all your males. Then we will give you our daughters and take your daughters for ourselves. We will settle among you and become one people with you. But if you will not agree to be circumcised, we'll take our sister and go." Their proposal seemed good to Hamor and his son Shechem. The young man, who was the most honored of all his father's household, lost no time in doing what they said, in getting himself circumcised. And of course, we read earlier that this was done deceitfully, that the brothers of Dinah were not truthful. This was all a ploy, which we're going to find out why they wanted them circumcised here later on. So continuing on to with verse 19. The young man who was most honored of his father's household lost no time in doing what they said because he was so delighted with Jacob's daughter. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their city to speak to their fellow townsmen. These men are friendly toward us, they said. That's what they thought. Let them live in our land and trade in it. The land has plenty of room for them. We can marry their daughters and they can marry ours. But the men will consent to live with us as one people only on the condition that our males be circumcised as they themselves are. Won't their livestock, their property, and all their other animals become ours? So let us give our consent to them, and they will settle among us. All the men who went out of the city gate agreed with Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male in the city was circumcised. Now, this is quite a large city. As I mentioned earlier, this was kind of the capital city of that area. 3 days later, while all of them were still in pain, 2 of Jacob's sons, Simon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and attacked the unsuspecting city, killing every male. They put Hamor and his son Shechem to the sword and took Dinah from Shechem's house and left. The sons of Jacob came upon the dead bodies and looted the city where their sister had been defiled. They seized their flocks and herds and donkeys and everything else of theirs in the city and out in the fields. They carried off all their wealth and all their women and children, taking as plunder everything in their houses. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought trouble on me by making me a stench to the Canaanites and Perizzites and the people living in this land. We are few in number, and if they join forces against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed." But they replied, "Should he have treated our sister like a prostitute?" And so ends chapter 34. Not a very uplifting chapter. I mean, we have a rape in this chapter. We have, uh, murder by 2 of the brothers, the sons of Jacob. And so what we see here is, I guess, revenge for the sister. But it does cause them problems and trouble. And we're going to see this later when the Hivites and the Perizzites are 2 of the groups of people that will be fighting against the takeover of Canaan by Jacob, by Israel and his sons. Well, I hope you enjoyed this study, and if you want to, I want you to check out my other, studies in this series. You can find those at right here at pastorruss.net. Just go to my website, and you'll see all of my videos on the chapters in Genesis thus far. You can see other videos as well, and if you really like the videos that I do, I also want you to check out my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to this channel. It's called Through the Fire with Pastor Russ is what it is. So look for Through the Fire on YouTube, and you can see all of my fun songs, my hymn stories, certainly all of the videos on Genesis as well. So until we meet again next time, this is Pastor Russ, and I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of this video and joining with me. So have a great and blessed day. Amen.